Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's good to see all of you. Happy Sunday. So, on a interesting note, I looked on Facebook this morning. Don't look on Facebook in the morning, maybe. I looked on Facebook, and for those of you who are on it, you know that feature you can see your memories and what happened on this day? Yes. Thank you. So, I didn't realize this until this morning, but on this day, August 12th, 5 years ago, was my very first sermon. Isn't that crazy? Strange coincidence. So as I mentioned, my name is Teresa Rischl. I'm still pretty new to this community, and I know I don't know everyone in this congregation yet, but I am really looking forward to getting to know you. My husband and I moved here a few months ago. We've been all over the world, all over the country. Before this, we were living with his parents in Denver, Colorado. Before that, in New Jersey. Before that, in New York. So we've been all over. But just wanted to say I'm really excited to get to know you and for you to get to know us. So I'm very welcome if you want to just give a phone call and let's get something to eat. I'm really looking forward to creating that community, that family with you, okay? Sure. Yeah, all right. So my topic today is National Restoration. Woohoo! Yeah. Anybody not know what that is? A little bit? Or we've all, it's a term we've all heard before. And I think a lot of times there's terms that we hear and we get theoretically, but sometimes we don't always see a clear picture of how this looks right next to me, in front of me, the substantial results, right? And I became really interested in this topic because 2 years ago, True Mother mentioned that national restoration was part of the job of CARP, right? Which I am the national president of. So I was like, I think I need to figure out what this means. So for those of you, I'm sure everyone knows, CARP it's the National Collegiate Association for the Research of Principles. We're a national student movement that studies the principles that our two parents, Reverend Sungmyung Moon and Dr. Hakjahan Moon, have shared and really testified throughout the world. And so, you want to hear what Mother said? Yes. So this is 2 years ago on the occasion of CARP's 50th anniversary. She said, CARP students, national restoration and global restoration will be done by your hands. We must mobilize members of CARP from around the world centered on Korea, God's homeland, and unite to go forth boldly toward national restoration and global restoration. All right, yes. So even though she said this to CARP members specifically, she's really saying it to all of us. Aju, yes? Okay. So at that time, I started looking into what is national restoration. So in the Cham Bumogyang, book 13, titled The Completion of Restoration and the Settlement of Cheongguk. So I'm going to read about 2 paragraphs. So if you want to close your eyes and really let it sink in, that's okay. The new civilization means a God-centered civilization, a heavenly civilization. This is the dawn of that new civilization. The fundamental truth of history was hidden, and humankind has remained in ignorance. It is now time to disclose it to the entire world. What humankind needs to know most of all is the parent-child relationship. And in another passage, was there a nation that God could fully relate with in the Old Testament age? No such nation existed in heaven or on earth. America represents the realm of the second Israel, but is it such a nation? No, it is not. Korea represents the realm of the third Israel. Is it such a nation? No. Thus, human beings have been wandering aimlessly without a nation that God could fully relate to. And finally, from the Cheongguk, the purpose of establishing Cheongguk is to liberate God. Let me say that again. The purpose of establishing Cheongguk is to liberate God. So when we think of God as our heavenly parent, right? Who's close to us, who loves us, our Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother. You can imagine that, as there's many parents in the room, but we are all children. Our parents always want to connect to us, right? Anybody, like, their parents are always calling and texting them and sending them cute emojis? My mom does. As a parent, you always want to relate with your kids, and if you think about the situation of God, our Heavenly Parent, we've come to understand through our true parents that God wants us so desperately and so much wants to connect to us. And wants to relate not just with like one person or one family or one couple, but all of us, right? If only all of the whole family could be together as one, right? And so this idea of national restoration, it's so comforting, right? To have this big group, like it's a family reunion, right? All together, united, one. And then to have that on a global scale, and then cosmic, that would be so exciting for a parent. All your children are coming home. Can you imagine that moment, that excitement? All the children, the grandchildren, all of it. So that's ultimately what we want to do, and that's what our true parents have shared with us, right? So recently, I was on Amazon Prime Video. Anybody watch Netflix? Yeah. And I strolled across a documentary called America, This Is Us. Has anyone heard of it? It's a 12-hour, it's a pretty long documentary about the history of America from when America was founded until today. I watched all 12 hours. And, it's incredible to look at both the incredible spirit of America, the perseverance, the courage, the determination, no matter what, we're going to push through in this wild, wild west, in this new land, right? The pilgrims coming over, wanting religious freedom, this sense of really ownership, that I can really take ownership of my life and really create a whole new future for my family. So it was both a beautiful, but also watching it was also, I was filled with also a sense of sadness and shame also for all of the things that our country and people have done that have hurt God, that have divided us. So we could see throughout history, there's been examples of both unity, peace, prosperity, when we come together and unite, but also the destruction and the pain and the division that can come as well. So in trying to understand restoration, I looked at True Parents' words. I looked at looking at America. Where have we been, so we can see where we want to go. And then I also asked some of my CARP students, what does national restoration mean? Because this is our job to do. We should know what it means. So now I'm going to do an activity with you guys, okay? So pretend that you're all college students. Okay, good. You guys are young in spirit, Aju. Okay. And if you're a student, just smile, be yourself. All right. So I originally wanted a whiteboard. Actually, can I use the microphone? Testing. Okay. So please, thank you for your cooperation. This is how I usually interact with my CARP students, okay? So what is national restoration? What does it mean? So that can be a really big, far off concept, like so big, right? So let's shrink it down a little bit. Everybody here went to school? Okay. So use that as a basis. You're smiling. Thank you. All right, what would a restored campus school look like? A heavenly school. All right, so this is where we get to be a little fun and creative. Any idea, okay? So you can just raise your hand, and I'll share with you some of the things that our students came up with. This is going to be a really fun process at the end. Okay.
In my ideal campus, there would be different rooms with different kinds of music playing, not your digital, we'd have analog, so or we'd have live music. But each kind of thinking has a certain type of environment. So if you're a philosopher, you're going to an environment that does that. And And the things that you purchase in the cafeteria is not going to be the stuff that makes your head fall apart or your body depreciate. So the environment is going to support the fundamental focus that you're trying to accomplish. And on that campus, there's going to be a lot of physical opportunities to develop oneself physically so that you're alert. And there's going to be social activities that do not take away from your heart's development as a start.
Great. Can we give her a round of applause? That was pretty great. Yeah, so like the entire environment would be towards supporting like a holistic person, not just the academic, right? And I saw when she started talking about music, her husband was like, oh my gosh, here she goes again. All right? Yeah, all of these modalities where we can learn, we can experience things. Can you imagine like kids wanting to go to school because it's so much fun? You get to learn. I'm kind of a nerd, so I like that anyway, but anyone else?
I think an ideal campus would be a place where everyone is practicing unconditional love. That is to say that when a person goes to school, he's not expected to do anything. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. He's just himself. And so he has absolute freedom to be on the campus where it's safe, protected, and he's using his own creative nature to the fullest because he's becoming the person God wants him to become. So environment of unconditional love is what I think an ideal campus would be like.
Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah. Can you imagine going to a place where you are unconditionally loved? I mean, that's like just a perfect place for a young person, for a student to grow and learn how to love back, right? Man, it would be very different. Recent college grads, right? You go onto campus, you're on your phone, everybody else is on your phone, you're not really looking up, you have your earbuds in, nobody's like saying hi, you pretend like you don't exist. Not so fun. Yeah.
I think a heavenly campus would be a campus where in the classes, in the programs, there is a class of ethics and morality, which is included in every to graduate from.
So a class on morality? Yeah. Ethics and morality, yeah. So classes on ethics and morality, talking about what's right, what's good, right? What else?
So they're learning the different measures, but so once they learn to everyone's knowledge put together and working together for some goal to make a piece or something.
We would see a lot more peace projects, interdisciplinary, different majors coming together. Yeah, parents have talked about that, right? The power that can come when we can share our knowledge together. You guys see what I'm doing? I'm coming around, so anybody else? No? Okay. That's okay. Anyone else? All right, up in the front.
There would be a class on True Father's life. Yeah. And also free tater tots on Fridays.
All right, yeah, sure. Kingdom of Heaven, yes. Yeah, there would be classes on True Parents' life, on unification thought, on the divine principle, where people can really see all different kinds of perspectives, right? For me, I think that was one thing I always wanted. I wanted, it was like school was really good, but I wanted to see the God-centered perspective. And I felt like it would be so interesting to see from different religious perspectives, different spiritual perspectives on math, on science, on history, and that would open up a whole new, that would be pretty exciting. Okay, I'm going to take a few more, but just raise your hands and shout them out. You just shout it out. Free tater tots? No. Ah, okay. So a very healthy relationships, brothers and sisters. Yes. Yeah. They're coming. They'll share. It's okay. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So we can get a sense of this, right? When I asked this question to the CARP students just recently on the CARP trip to Japan and Korea, some of the things they talked about the power of diversity and how diversity would be so celebrated and shared. They talked about how issues like bullying would no longer be an issue, right? Because you can't bully another person if you see them as a child of God and when you see their value, right? So our whole sense of our thought about each other, the environment, the feelings, it would be completely different. And when you're in an environment like that, you know, you're thinking not just about your own career and where you're going in this, like putting your iPod in and in this path, but you're seeing with different eyes. And everyone is encouraging you to see from this perspective, to see bigger, right? Wouldn't that be incredible? And then, you know, because fathers always talked about, True Mother's always talked about, you know, why did True Mother say that national restoration is in the hands of young people, 18, 19, 20-year-olds? That doesn't make any sense, right? In some ways. You know, you could argue. But in the other way, campuses move culture. Young people move culture. And if that kind of culture and environment were on a college campus, they would make a lot of money because everyone would want to go there. And it would emanate throughout the community because every student has a family, they go to work, they're part of activities, a part of clubs and sports. It would just emanate through the rest of the community, right? And when young people are inspired, we are all pretty inspired, right? Yeah. So it's, you know, if we can really set that foundation, that environment, when we can restore the campus, we can restore the world. And that's what CARP has been about. That's what we've been championing and fighting for. Aju? Yes. All right. So that's one aspect, but I'm not just here about CARP. All right. So we're talking about national restoration. So we're doing it on the campus front, but we need everybody to be part of this fight, right? Yes. So in the America documentary, especially, you know, preparing for war, everybody was mobilized in the war efforts and everybody was a part of it, not just those who are on the front line, right? So we're all part of this effort for national restoration, global restoration, right? Yes. Okay. I know it's in your heart. I know. Okay. All right. Great. So that's what a restored campus would look like. Who here works? Goes to a job? Goes somewhere. Okay. Has ever worked? Gone to a workplace? Okay. Good. So now, what would a restored workplace look like? What would it look like if God was the center of that job, workplace? World peace? Workplace, where you go to work. Yeah, your job. You can just raise your hand. Yeah, like the president of the company would be in this position as a parent. So how would they act towards employees?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
How? Okay. How? Okay. At first, that also that that they give, empower the employees so
Mhm.
that they can, independent. They can be independent, and also that not micromanaging, not micromanage, just like
So really empower them and raise them up. Yeah.
yeah, and also that the respect, as the grown-up children.
Mm.
Yeah, so they can have more motivation to come and feel, really joyful about. Yeah.
Mm.
So I like to work, because of this present, or that's why that work, I like to contribute
Yeah.
for the growth of the company.
So they really inspire each person, recognize their value as a adult, and we can really work together. Yeah. So starting from the top, right? What else? Less complaining. No workplace drama. Oh my gosh, that's the fun of it. I'm just kidding. What else? I mean, just
I think purpose of company is support internal and external happiness of employees and their families. So employees are not the tool to make money. And this is very, very important, what Sumiko-san said about the parental heart, take care of employees and to grow together. And of course, external benefit like payroll and benefit insurance, these are important. But more important thing is to grow internally. But not only for employees, to associate, for example, distributors or landlord or repair people. We have to include those people. So company cannot be just for company to help associate to be successful. So one of example, there is a company over 200 companies, 200 years doing business. There are many companies in the world. Japan is among about 54% of companies are Japan, come from Japan. And next is Germany, 23%. He has been doing for business for over 200 years. And the third is France, just 4%. China has the largest population, just 1%. One thing Japan is strong is family structure. Sometimes if employees, company not doing well, then I cannot give a payroll. Sometimes they sell their own property to give a payroll, not to delay for payroll to support. I think this is very important, as the father said, also unification also said, relationship between owner or employees, a parent, and the children relationship. So then establish trust relationship between parent, employees and company owner, then that company will be very, very successful. I wish I can establish that kind of company. And the purpose of a company is not make money, to help support happiness or internal happiness and external happiness of employees. And those people can support, can make a good family, then expand to society in the world. That's I believe.
Thank you. Yeah. So we could see just the power and the influence of a true ideal family permeating all parts of society, government, business, even just this idea of this parent-child relationship coming into play. And then also this idea of the purpose. Anybody take a business class? What's the purpose of a business? They say, to make money, right? Profit, that's the bottom line, right? But if we could really see businesses as a way to live for the sake of others, to make a difference in the world, to really make a difference in people's lives, right? Really see that as the clear purpose, man, businesses would be so different, right? Organizations, businesses, schools, churches, it's all just made up of people, right? Of families, of individuals. And if we could really focus on that, the world would be a better place. Yes. All right. I really like these kind of conversations, these kind of brainstorms. So if we're meant to put God at the center, what would that look like, right? So I want to invite you to get together in pairs or in threes, and just what would a restored heavenly Ohio, let's break down, Columbus, let's just do Columbus, Ohio right now. What would a restored Columbus look like? All right, so I'm just going to give you about 2 minutes, so you can share in your partner or in a little trinity, okay? Go. All right, start to wrap it up. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys being so open to this. Anybody want to shout out, share? What would a heavenly Columbus, Ohio look like? Ambassadors for peace. Yeah, and so they would just naturally extend this heavenly environment everywhere they go. Yes.
I imagine angels coming up and down from heaven.
Angels is free coming, hanging out with us. Okay, cool. No racial divides. Yep. Yeah.
City council start with a session with a family pledge.
Ooh, city council starts with the family pledge.
Lower taxes.
Tax something. Okay.
Where the Ohio State Buckeyes win against Michigan.
Oh boy. Okay. Ideal Columbus. Yeah. Okay. What else? Good.
Good soccer team.
Okay. Jason? Okay. Bring God back to public schools. I think I'm one of the last to have grown up saying the Pledge of Allegiance every day. Yeah. Yeah, education would be so different, transformed. Yeah. Can you see? I mean, even here, right? We are members of Columbus, Ohio. And, you know, we are the ambassadors for peace. We are the representatives of our true parents, right? So we're the ones to be that light that goes throughout this city and restores it to a God-centered city. Can we do that? Yes. Yeah, right? And if you can imagine, we have this incredible congregation. There's so much that we can do, right? And now that we have a clearer picture of what a restored Columbus looks like, we know what we got to do, right? We know the kinds of things that we need to say to people, the conversations to have, right? And we start to find that there's people who not only agree, but who want to be part of that, right? Okay, I'm getting too excited. So the same way, right? I mentioned before, you know, my husband and I used to live in different cities, right? So we're part of a national family federation of churches, of groups, of organizations. And so can you imagine, the same thing that's happening here is happening in Detroit, in Texas, in California, in Seattle, in Washington, D.C. Can you imagine a restored government? Oh, that would be great. You know, all these areas. And what I always tell to my CARP students, you know, I represent this national nebulous organization in some ways, but the only result that we get happens on a local level. All the power happens on a local level, on one campus, on those relationships. And the same thing with us. This church, this congregation can be the starting point of something so much bigger, right? So this is something I really love thinking about that and thinking about how we could revolutionize things and, you know, how could we bring God at the center? And we have support here, right? So there's this incredible opportunity. We can restore Starbucks. We can restore Bear Burger. We can restore all of these things here in Columbus, Ohio. And naturally, by our extension, by sharing it, that spreads, right? And that's so exciting. At the other side of the exciting is oh my goodness, this is such a big thing that we're doing. I don't know if, anybody have those feelings like it's too big? I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. I get that. When I get overwhelmed, what really helps me is, what would God, as my Heavenly Parent, want to say to me right now? What does God want to say to you right now?
One step at a time.
And for me, my final point is this. Peace starts with me. We've heard that, yes? National restoration starts with me. Wouldn't we say that the the result, the point of national restoration is peace, right? And so we can see that peace or restoration or God-centered society, a heavenly society, starts when I put God at the center of everything I do, right? In the Chansangyang, where does God's kingdom start? It starts from a perfected person, from the center of that one perfected person. And when that happens, God will be dwelling within the center of our hearts. Aju? But then two parents go on to say God's kingdom starts from a heavenly family. That family starts from one man and one woman who are aligned with God's will. In the end, they become the center, not only of a family, but the center of a country and the entire universe. Therefore, it isn't the country that needs to be perfected first, nor is it the family. It is one man and one woman. So I've been blessed just over 3 years. Neil and I received the holy marriage blessing of our two parents. And whether you're married or not, 3 years is about a good enough time to like go through some ups and downs and struggles. Would you agree? Yes, okay. And I find myself in these struggles sometimes with my husband. And I find that either it's a peaceful home because I can let go of things and do the dishes and clean up and like hold my tongue, or we're fighting and it's stressful and I'm angry and I'm mad and so I find myself in these situations that either I can have a peaceful and loving relationship in my home, or I can keep that cycle of anger coming. And I have to tell you, for the past year and a half, I've been in a lot of anger, and I felt very justified and right that I know I'm right? And what I found is, as I had to go back, why did I get blessed? Why did I want to put God and two parents at the center of my relationship? And I realized it's because on my own power, I can get frustrated and I complain and I'm annoyed, but when I include God in those moments, God, what do you want to say to me? God, how do you want to work through me? I find a whole new sense of peace and forgiveness and grace and joy, and from that, I find the power to make that peace and that joy with other relationships. And so, yay! And so I can see the power of two parents, of this principle that we have, is that when man and woman are united, when an individual is really putting God at the center, then everything flows from that, right? So we need to bring God back, not just to this nation, America, and to the world, but we get that we make that impact by starting with ourselves, right? Every day, we are restoring marriage, we are restoring this city, we are restoring our country, our nation, and world, right? Each moment that you can put God at the center. Two parents have already proclaimed the era after the coming of heaven, right? Peace in the nation, peace in the world starts with you and me, Aju. So together we can create this dream, right? These big ideals happen on a local level. They happen right here in our homes, in our relationships, in our churches, right? So we can create that kind of family. We can create a restored nation right here, right now. Aju? All right, that's my message for today. Thank you.